What's going on, everybody? This is Ball Up Top Podcast, our YouTube show. I'm your host, Mike. We're currently working on a series we're calling the Kevin Durant Sweepstakes. If you're an NBA fan, you already have heard that Kevin Durant a few weeks ago asked for a trade. This is an interesting scenario because he still has 4 years left on his deal. It's a max deal, and he's one of the best players in the league. So, with so much time on his deal, I feel like every team should at least make that phone call to see if they can gauge what the possibility is going to be. We've been working through this series. This episode is going to be about the Washington Wizards. Now, the Wizards are an interesting fit for Durant just because he's originally from that Washington D.C. area. We're using the fanspo.com trade machine. For me, it's been the most comprehensive. It allows you to do things like sign in trades, um, play with draft picks. I feel like it just overall just ends up being the most, just like I said, comprehensive. So let's go ahead and jump on in here. We are only doing one team trades because if you start doing multiple team trades, it can kind of like the possibilities are endless. So on to the Washington Wizards. Now the Wizards, I if I'm the Wizards, basically everything's up for grabs that is not Bradley Beal. Because if I'm them, I wanna pair Bradley Beal with Kevin Durant. So we're going to start over here and move Durant over. So the now, obviously, if you look at the salary, both teams are over, so it's not like there's any. It's not like the situation with the Pacers where they had all this extra room to play with. So I don't feel like there's any way Porzingis is not a part of this deal. For the simple fact of 44 million, you need to have a bulk contract in there. And Porzingis has got 2 years left. He's not the unicorn he once was, but he is a very capable player. And part of what the Nets wanted to do was remain a playoff team because they don't have hardly any of their own first round picks for the next few years. Not only that, but Porzingis' outside shooting with his size would allow them to use Ben Simmons in more ways. So, yeah, like it makes Simmons their kind of de facto low post center on offense, but on defense, it being Porzingis, who is a good shot blocker. I mean, 7'3", 27 years old. If he, the wrap on him is always if he stays healthy or if he can get back into form. So for a salary point, that leaves 11 million we've got to figure out. But remember, Brooklyn wants an all-star caliber player, which Porzingis is. Eh, you can make a case, but not a very good one. A young up-and-coming player and draft picks. So they've already traded for Will Barton. He's not an option. I kind of think they have to go with Kyle Kuzma, not because not because I'm a big Kuzma guy, because I'm not. It's more of because I'm just looking to fill a filler. But let's check some. We could go with Ryu Hachimura. Now he probably is their best. I don't know, he probably is their best young type player. So I'm gonna move him. That gives them 40 million in incoming salary. Like we're within the trade parameters at this point. Um, Essentially, you can get away with just those two players. Now, Brooklyn may want more. I could see them saying, "Oh well, give us a Daniel Gafford," or I don't know. Like the thing is, there's not a lot. I don't think there's a lot young of. I don't think there's as much as other people think of young talent. So we'll throw Isaiah Todd in here because he's a young player, and yeah, we'll say okay, Brooklyn's good with that. And why would Brooklyn be good with that? Well, we're giving them a young player, a couple young players. guy who's a borderline all-star, and they're going to save roughly about 2.5 million from that. That's not going to get that luxury tax. So then, what are we looking at? Next comes the draft picks. So Washington's good for draft picks. They don't have their 23 first. So, which means they can't trade their 24. So, probably would be the case is they would have to trade the 25, the 27, and the 29 unprotected, and then take the 24, 26, and 28 and make them swaps. That's that's I feel like that's probably what they would have to go with. So is 3 first rounders and these 3 players enough? I don't think it's enough for Brooklyn, to be honest. But this is probably you throw in some second round picks. It's probably the best offer they can make without putting Bradley Beal. And Washington's not throwing Bradley Beal. The idea of bringing Durant is let's make us a contender. Swapping Bradley Beal for Durant would make them better, but it would not make them a contender. So let's try this trade. It actually failed. Let's see why it failed. Hold on. So it failed, it looks like, because for hard cap reasons. Um, so let's go back. Let's see if there's something else we can add in here. Because if I'm the Nets, I'm not taking more salary. I'm just not. Let's see what we got here. Let's see if there's anything in here that we can just like make this fit. We're gonna throw in Vernon Carney. We'll see if that works out. So now it's really freaking close. Like really close. The Nets only have 300,000 more coming in, which they're probably not going to like. So, I'll sit there and start I'll send them over some second round picks. We'll trade them over 3 second round picks to compensate. Let's see if this one will work. And see, yeah, that worked. Like the hard cap was a problem. Um, and the reason why it was ended up being even more second round picks is specifically because in order for this trade to work, the Nets were going to have to take on more salary than they would want to. Granted, they still saved $667,000, which would probably be a couple $1,000,000 when after the luxury tax. But it's still like if you want, like they want the perfect storm. They want to lower their amount of salary commitment. They want draft picks. They want young players, and they want an all-star player. Overall, this deal is Porzingis, Hachimura, Carney, and Todd with 3 first rounds, 3 first round swaps, and 3 second rounders for Kevin Durant. That is quite a haul. And it should be enough that to keep them competitive. It should. It depends on how Porzingis fits in. Hachimura, he's a nice young player. So I don't know if he's an all-star type young player, but he is a player who is a good athlete. He can give them a lot. But that's all we got. Thanks for tuning in. Please like, comment, subscribe, follow, do all those things. Our Instagram is at Ball Up Top Podcast. Our Twitter is at Ball Up Top Pod. We try to respond to everybody who contacts us. So we love having basketball conversations. I hope to hear from you guys soon. But this is the Kevin Durant Sweepstakes, and that was the Washington Wizards.